moving quickly, another handoff to Rankin. Rankin finds a hole, he's at the 30, makes it to the 20, he's got one man to beat. Rankin walks into the end zone. Into the backfield, Braden Wright looks over top, he's going to try to find a man, he's got Alec Tatum. Tatum bobbles it, but he's in the end zone. What a connection between Braden Wright and Alec Tatum. Handoff to Rankin, Rankin right up the middle, and he's in the end zone for a Bearcat touchdown.
You that the views expressed in today's show do not reflect the views of KZLX, KNWT, or Northwest Missouri State University. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Sam Steinmeier along with Sam Reeves, Stephen Mers, and Sam Gall once again here on this great Friday afternoon. First show since the NCAA Tournament just started, as about ready to get set for Sweet 16 action. We'll get to that and later in the show. Yeah, also NFL, but we first always start out with Bearcat sports. And did everyone watch the game last night?
Oh yeah,
I hope so.
I listened to it. I didn't get to watch it, but
first, let's get everyone else's reactions from it, because Northwest beats Flagler College out of Florida by 31. That is the most, as the highest margin of victory in a national semifinal game for Division II at least. In history. It's that is an amazing feat that this Northwest team accomplished.
And I think that's just the story of the season. They've really done a lot this season to prove themselves, and executing like that on this stage is really big, especially going in the championship game.
It definitely is. They met two high-powered offenses in the Elite Eight. First up, going up against West Liberty, who averaged 102 points per game. Then they hold them to 77 in a 98-77 victory. And we'll start out in that one since we haven't been here since they've been to the Elite Eight. So we'll start out with that one. It's kind of just the Ryan Hawkins, Trevor Hudgens show has the Elite Eight been. And Ryan Hawkins, 32 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. And 1 steal is all over the floor. Also, Trevor Hudgens, 23 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, these two guys are just doing what they've been doing all year. It's really the one the one kind of main outlier of the season was could this team get it done with not much depth, and they are most certainly getting it done, especially now with the absence of Byron Alexander.
Yeah, that's going to be key going into tomorrow. But we'll start like you said, Sam, with the West Liberty game. Northwest came out, and West Liberty isn't a bad team. You mentioned they score a lot of points.
Obviously they're a good team.
They're a high of 134 this season. They have to be a good team to make it this far. And Northwest just came out and said, okay, we know you're a good team, but guess what? We're better.
Yeah.
And Northwest was a lot better against West Liberty, and they were honestly a lot better against Flagler too. But going back to the depth specifically, Sam, that was a concern, I kind of had throughout the season. But then as we went down the stretch, Byron Alexander started playing a lot more and playing extremely well. And Isaiah Jackson has kind of entered Ben McCollum's circle of trust as well. Yeah. And he's been playing, we haven't been seeing as much of like Daniel Abreu per se, but, Byron and Isaiah are both playing really well. And when Byron got hurt late in the game against West Liberty, he didn't play last night against Flagler, and he's questionable for tomorrow's championship game. That kind of, lit up a red flag to me just a little bit, because that's the problem with Northwest. They've been doing good enough so far to where they've stayed out of foul trouble. They don't really have to worry about it. They can roll with 6 guys and win a lot of games, but that's what I've been concerned about, going into the game last night and then continuing to be concerned about tomorrow is if West Texas A&M can get Northwest in foul trouble, or if anybody could have, Flagler didn't do that. But if West Texas can do that tomorrow, it's an issue.
Northwest was kind of in foul trouble last night. Luke Waters.
But they were also up 30 the whole game.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more so in the first half. I think Luke Waters had 2 in the first half. I'm pretty sure Diego Bernard had 2 in the first half, and also Ryan Hawkins in the first half. So, they got Northwest in foul trouble. But Coach Ben McCollum, he just kept them out there. He kept riding the ship. He knew his guys are smart, not going to commit, unnecessary fouls, not going to, they know how many fouls they have in their head. So they know how to play smart and, not play too aggressive. And, that screams a lot for for the trust he has in these guys to not get their third foul in the first half.
I mean, you're exactly right. That was the other point I was going to make was, you can get Northwest into foul trouble early a little bit. If you get lucky enough to do that, that's great. But the problem is these players, Ben McCullum trusts them. They're smart basketball players. They have high basketball IQ. Like you said, Tim, they know how many fouls they have, and they're good at playing defense without fouling. So they can, wall up and play good defense without picking up that third foul, per se, in the first half. And Northwest has been able to, handle that all season because of the veteran leadership of guys like Trevor Hudgens and Ryan Hawkins. But I'll be interested to see tomorrow because on paper it's an interesting matchup. West Texas A&M doesn't have a single guy that starts that's over 6'1".
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. It's for the first time in a long time Northwest has the size advantage.
Yeah.
By a lot.
By a lot.
I mean, it's insane.
And, talk about this West Liberty game, just going through the totals. Northwest shot 68% from the floor, 45 from three. Looking at the game against Flagler last night, they shot an outstanding. They shot 49%. They shot 49% from the field and 38% from three. But so a little bit less so than the first game, but it didn't feel like that. Honestly, they just kept working the offense and running good sets. And speaking of running good sets, we'll mention that one possession. Sam, I think you mentioned before the show, is 12 passes.
12, yes.
And a bunch of pump fakes. That is the possession. It went viral on Twitter now. It's just. It's an amazing piece of basketball. It's one of the best possessions I've ever seen. And it's the really definition of, waiting for a great shot to open up. It's like passing up on the good shot and going for the great shot. And they got a great shot and a wide open Trevor Hudgens three-pointer.
And I think that clip right there really just kind of was the name of the game. Northwest played bully ball that whole game. It seemed like they were not going to let Flagler get anything. And, up 16 at the half, Northwest really stepped on their throat and is letting everyone know before they get into the championship.
They really did show. And it's when you look at how good Northwest has been down the stretch, it's hard to think how they lost to Washburn twice, especially the way they manhandled Washburn in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
They're playing their best ball of the year right now.
They really are. They are turning it on at the absolute right time.
And, even when you look at, how Flagler beat – who did Flagler beat?
Flagler beat Truman State.
Yeah, they beat Truman State by 1, and then you kind of look at that. For me, it's okay, we're probably going to 20 ball these guys because
you don't want to think that going in because you don't want to feel.
But this Northwest team.
But you have to kind of think like that.
Yeah, they're so far in it, they're beyond. They're the people they're playing. They should be really almost in Division I the way they're playing right now.
I mentioned this. Sam and I had a conversation last night. And we got my dad into it as well. I asked him, could they beat Kansas? And I think they could. Honestly, the way this team if Northwest plays like they did last night or the night before against West Liberty, and Kansas has a game like they played against USC, I think Northwest could beat Kansas. And it's just insane. This team, Sam and I were having a debate on this. We got my dad into this, and he said he thinks Northwest could beat Kansas 3 times out of 10. That's insane if you're a Division II school.
Yeah.
And he also said that he thinks they could win any mid-major conference in Division I. And I
would agree.
I would agree.
The mid-major conference, without a doubt, is true. I mean, I would really like to see, Northwest against the team, because at the beginning of the game last night against Flagler, the announcers on CBS Sports Network were talking about how, Flagler beat 2 Division I programs early in the season. But, and I can't remember. One was Central Michigan, I know, and the other one, I think, was South Florida.
Central Michigan and North Florida.
North Florida, okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, that's great, Flagler, but,
this is a Division I team you're going up against today.
That's the problem. And when he said that, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting stat. That's a good stat if you're Flagler. That's terrific. You beat 2 Division I programs. That's impressive as a Division II school, and a Division II school that has had a winning record for the past many years. Or a losing record, for the past many years before this one.
Flagler, before this run of, I believe they end their season 18-3.
Yeah.
Before this magical season for Flagler, they had 12 straight losing seasons.
12, yeah, right. But
12 straight.
But going back to the problem if you're Flagler is, yes, you beat those 2 Division I schools, but Northwest, I think, would come out and manhandle those 2 Division I schools because those are, like we said, those mid-major conferences that don't. Although North Florida will be a mid-major.
North Florida's a mid-major.
Um,
Central Michigan, a bigger school, more known,
but
but it is a
good
mid-major
basketball
in the
program
MAC.
necessarily. Yeah, they're in the MAC, right? So that's how good Northwest is playing right now. But the problem is it's championship Saturday tomorrow. You can't, get on your high horse and say we're killing people, because they are. They're playing tremendous basketball. They're dominating people. But West Texas A&M, they shouldn't be, but they're technically the 1 seed.
Yeah,
And they're coming off of an exciting win last night against Lincoln Memorial on a buzzer beater 3 to win it by 1.
Did you see
And-
that?
Phenomenal.
I was watching
that
that
was a
game
crazy
too.
So
clip.
they've got momentum on their side too.
The Dolphins have been doing a lot today. They traded their number 3 pick to the 49ers for, I believe it was 2 first-round picks in 2022 and 2023, also the number 12 pick,
Yes.
which the 49ers owned. So, but for the next 3 years, the Dolphins will have 2 first-round picks in every draft.
Which is ridiculous.
That is insane. They're kind of the Oklahoma City Thunder of the NFL right now, just getting as many picks as they can.
Yeah. And somehow they've ended up with, after, they traded, like you said, they got the 12th pick from the 49ers in that deal that gave the 49ers the 3rd overall pick. And then they just turned around and traded it back away to the Eagles.
This is very surprising to me.
Which is interesting. Yeah, very surprising and interesting. The Eagles moved down from 6 to 12, and the Dolphins end up with pick number 6.
Yeah,
So,
the Eagles moved from 6 to 12, and I'm surprised they moved down because they need help.
right. I don't understand.
And I saw something, I think it was an ESPN update, that with that 6th pick, the Eagles were trying to maybe take Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they were.
Why?
Which would have been stupid.
That
So
would've
I'm
been-
so glad he's not
So
there.
you're taking 2 quarterbacks in 2 straight years, Jalen Hurts and then Zach Wilson. And then you sign Joe Flacco. So what the Eagles are trying to do with this, I have no clue. Maybe they'll think, I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to go quarterback, and if they're really dead set on quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles go Mac Jones at 12.
If Mac Jones goes that high, unbelievable. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he does at all, but he shouldn't. He's not that good.
I disagree. I think Mac Jones.
You
is
think
No,
Mac
he's
Jones
a
is
product
good?
of his talent around them.
That's what I think. I think he's the next AJ McCarron.
That's exactly what I think. He's A.J. McCarron.
He's literally the same
He
quarterback.
literally, I mean, he's a good quarterback for college. He's
Terrific.
He can get the ball to his good receivers, but in college it's different. Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, I mean, they can tear apart cornerbacks all day. Now those cornerbacks, when they come to the NFL, are just as good as the receivers they're lined up against. And that, Matt Jones doesn't have a significant advantage talent-wise anymore with the players around him, so I think he's going to struggle with that.
That's a great way to put it, Sam.
Yeah. I think he's just going to struggle with the talent level of the NFL. And, I have no doubt that he will get drafted. I mean, he's good enough to be drafted. It's just that I don't think he's going to spend very much time as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
He might make a great second stringer.
He could, yeah, just like A.J. McCarron does.
He reminds me of, well, he is the prodigy of AJ McCarron, but another guy that has kind of done that and made a lot of money in the NFL just being, a backup is Chase
I
Daniel.
was about to say
Chase
Chase Daniels, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Tigers.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's been interesting to see the Dolphins. They originally, they've turned Laramie Tunsil, their left tackle, traded him to the Texans. Then that's how they got that number 3 pick, along with a lot of other picks. But they've turned him really into a lot of draft capital. I mean, they turned him into quite a few first round picks. They got 2 in every draft for the next 3 years, which is. They have obviously their picks for the next 3 years, and then someone else's pick. And we are now probably to everyone's most anticipated segment.
The next 2, anyway.
Next 2 segments, because we're splitting NCAA into 2 segments. But time to talk March Madness, as madness has ensued, and Weekend Sports Kickoff. We have a bracket challenge going, and all of us in this room, besides one person, are not doing too great. Well,
I'm doing good.
You're doing good. I said everyone but one, but also
okay.
Steven's not terrible either.
Yeah, I'm
you're 5th, and we have a lot of people in this bracket challenge because I I brought in some of the old guard of Weekend Sports Kickoff, Trevor Mater, Andrew Botwinick, Austin McNorton, Jacob Blair, all in this.
Although we have to give credit to Jordan, who technically is part of this show now.
Yeah, Jordan, our producer, is
Killing
also in this, in this bracket challenge. We wanted him in it too, and man, he's leading it. He's in the 97th percentile. Has 410 points right now in the ESPN bracket challenge, but unfortunately, he's only got 970 points left on the board to get because 2 of his Final Four teams are out and his national champion, Oklahoma State, is out.
But either way, when you're ranked 367,000th in the nation out of 15 million total brackets entered, that's pretty darn good.
Austin McNorton also up there. He's in the 95th percentile, and he's at 694,000th. So Austin McNorton also having a great tournament. He only has 1 of his Final Four teams left, though. Gonzaga, the only one he has in the Final Four left. That was his national champion, too. Big up Austin McNorton for picking the Zags.
That's right. Yeah, no, I'll take it. I'm sitting here in 4th. Andrew Botwinick is 3rd, and I'm sitting here in 4th.
Yeah, Andrew Botwinick, I thought Andrew's bracket was going to be busted day one because Villanova is his national champion, but they beat Winthrop and North Texas. But now we'll go through the actual bracket as I'm assuming everyone did what I did for the first 5 days of the tournament. From Thursday to Monday?
Thursday to Monday.
To Monday, all I did was sit on my couch and watch basketball. Is that what everyone else did?
Glued to the TV. Yeah.
Had 2 TVs going in the living room.
A lot of screaming and yelling going on, though. Yeah. A lot of those games did not go how I thought they'd go.
I know one game you're probably talking about, UConn, Maryland.
Yes.
Was there a lot of screaming during that game?
UConn never led, and I had them in my national championship. So.
Yeah. It's rough, Sam. It's rough. But that's how everyone is in March. Everyone's bracket gets busted. Everyone's bracket was busted. I'm pretty sure day 2.
Day 2.
By day 2, there were no more perfect brackets.
That's ridiculous.
And that was thanks in part to Oral Roberts being an absolute stud. Going all the way to the Sweet 16 to take on Arkansas. And I just want to key in on Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts took on Arkansas earlier this year. They did, I think in January. Mm-hmm. And they led them by 10 at halftime. Yep. Oral Roberts was up 40-30 at the half against Arkansas. So earlier this year. So there is, you can't write off Oral Roberts.
No.
They might win this game.
I mean, they've gotten this far, so you
and
never
become
know.
the first ever 15 seed to make the Elite Eight.
No, I wouldn't write them off.
I wouldn't write them off
Absolutely
either.
not. Nobody thought they'd get this far, and here they are. So at this point, you can't write them off.
I really hope, and the best case scenario for me is Gonzaga Oral Roberts national championship.
Not happening.
Because I get the best of both. I get the best of both worlds. If Gonzaga wins, I'm happy. They won the national championship. My team won the national championship.
But if they lose, your team lost to Oral Roberts.
But if they lose, though, they lost to a 15 seed, and I can't be that upset about that.
Yes, you can. They lost to
I
Oral
can't.
Roberts.
You can.
I can't because it's a 15 seed, and that's awesome. That a 15 seed
That's
won the
fair.
national
That would
championship.
be incredible.
And
But I still don't want to
and
say my
everyone-
team lost to Oral Roberts in the final.
But
That's not good.
you could say my team, lost to the first ever 15 seed to win the national championship. But still, no one could say anything because you beat them. Ohio State fans couldn't say anything. Florida fans couldn't say anything. Neither could Arkansas because in this scenario they'd win. So no one could say anything. It's okay, you try to beat them.
Yeah.
No one else could.
The only team that would beat them would be Northwest Missouri State.
Maybe. If this was
right.
if a regular season game happened between Oral Roberts and Northwest, I think Northwest would win.
I agree.
Right now. It's time for everyone's favorite segment. It's Off My Rocker. I forgot the intro music last week, so
I like
got the
intro
intro.
music.
I like it too. Austin McNorton did a good job with it.
Absolutely.
So who wants to go first? Sam, I think did you have the best one last week?
Yeah, mine was pretty good. Mine was Mark Fee will win a national title this year and then go win 2 more in Indiana.
Okay.
Okay.
He said okay.
I don't know if that's the best one, but that's the most off my rocker.
That's pretty good.
But who does anyone want to volunteer? I'll volunteer to go first.
I can go first if you want me to.
Okay.
Go ahead, fire away.
Stephen, you did say I would enjoy.
Yeah,
yours, so I
think
kind of
you
want to
would.
hear it.
Okay, so mine's going back to NFL news, And this Joe Flacco move, we didn't really touch on it too much. But
Yeah, Joe Flacco to the Eagles.
Joe Flacco to the Eagles. Okay, so my off the rocker is that after going 2-6, Jalen Hurts will get benched halfway through the season. Brings in Joe Cool. He's going 8-0 to finish off the season 10-6.
This is so good.
And I think Joe Flacco.
Actually, I think add one more to that. I think they're having a new.
Is it 17 games?
I think it's 17 games. So let's just say he goes 9-0.
Yeah, we'll say he goes 9-0.
And he's 11-6.
And they make the
is really
playoffs.
good.
And I'm not saying they're going to do great in the playoffs, but they make some sort of Joe Flacco style run. That's all I'm going to say. They're going to do
Joe
something.
Flacco style run.
Some sort of magic's going to happen. Nobody's going to
They're
see.
going to win the whole thing? Is that what we're saying?
They're going to the NFC Championship.
We'll call that. They're going to make it to the
good
NFC
God.
Championship.
You
Bye-bye.
You're off the rocker, man.
No.
You're off the porch.
I really hope
rolling
Hurts
down
doesn't
the
even
hill.
get benched. But
I like Hurts a lot.
yeah, I hope that doesn't happen.
Honestly,
really,
they
but-
might draft Zach Wilson. Who knows?
say there's a lot
He
of
won't
toss
be
up
there
here.
at 12.
He won't. He might not be there at 12, but they might. Honestly, I could see them drafting Mac Jones.
Yeah, that would be an Eagles move.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go next. Mine going to NCAA. My last one was college basketball. This one's college basketball as well. So Gonzaga, obviously, I'm a homer at heart. They signed the number 13 prospect in the country today from Nebraska.
Hunter Salas.
Hunter Salas. I was blanking on the name. I was going to look it up, but Hunter Salas went to Millard North High School, won a state championship this year, number 13 in the class. Pitt Gonzaga. Also, Gonzaga with him, they are going to sign Chet Holmgren out of Minnehaha Academy, same academy that Jalen Suggs went to. Speaking of Jalen Suggs, because he wants to play with Chet Holmgren, he's going to stay another year. Jalen Suggs is going to stay another year. Wants to play with Chet Holmgren. And also, UNC transfer Walker Kessler. He's going to go to Gonzaga. He's going to transfer to Gonzaga.
This is ridiculous.
And Gonzaga with, Chet Holmgren, Walker Kessler, Jalen Suggs, Joel Ayayi, Drew Timme, all those guys, also Andrew Nemhart, win the 2022 NCAA National Championship.
Could they win the championship? Yes, but not with all that stuff. No.
All that stuff's going to happen.
No.
All that stuff is going to happen.
Boo.
I could see two of these things, or three of these things happening. I can see them winning the national championship. I can see them getting Chet Holmgren, and I can see them getting Walker Kessler. Jalen Suggs.
Suggs isn't staying.
Jalen Suggs is not staying.
Yeah. If he does, he's clueless.
If he does, I love him even more.
Yeah, of course you do. Sam, is yours really good? Because if it is, I'll go next.
You can go. No, it's all right. I'll go.
All right,
actually.
you go
next. I just have a weird feeling, and I guess it's not the hottest take just because they're in the Sweet 16. But I think Oregon State is going to win it all.
Oregon State is going to win it all.
Okay, good.
I just have a weird feeling.
They are in the
it.
Sweet
It's not
16.
bad.
It's March Madness. Anything can happen. They got to go up against a tough one in Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago. But if they get past Loyola Chicago, I wouldn't be surprised if they made the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. But they gotta. So that means they would have to get past Gonzaga too, or whoever comes out.
I didn't say national championship. I said Final Four.
No, but Sam said national championship.
I know he said that.
So that's why he's off his rocker.
Yeah, no one's
Not the
beating-
craziest thing I've ever heard in this segment, but off your rocker.
There's been a lot of crazy.
You got to remember, it is 2021 March Madness. There's two
you are
things
correct,
we got
sir.
going against us right here. So
Yeah.
All right, I think it's up
Sam
to me.
Reeves.
Okay, here we go. The lower seeds will win all 8 games in the Sweet 16.
No, you're what?
nice.
Every
I actually
single-
like
really
that.
good.
I like that. That's
Well, some of them.
That's such a good take though for
Let's
off my
look
rocker.
real
It really is.
Let's
Yeah.
look, because I think the majority of them might.
No, that's why he said it. But then you have to throw in Baylor and Gonzaga, which made it off my rocker.
yeah.
So yeah, Creighton's not winning. I can see Villanova winning though. So that's not off your rocker. Oral Roberts is going to win that game. So
No,
that's
they're not.
That's, Oregon could win that game against USC.
Will win that game.
I'm thinking they
It's
will.
possible.
It's so
Syracuse is going to beat Houston.
Yeah.
Oregon State. I can see them beating Loyola Chicago. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can see them doing it. Florida State's going to beat Michigan. The only one that really, Syracuse is going to beat Houston. The only one that really doesn't have a chance outside of Oral Roberts is UCLA. I don't think that one's going to happen, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, outside of Gonzaga and Oral Roberts losing, the only one that's kind of set in stone is UCLA is not going to beat Alabama. The rest,
This is why it's off my rocker.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's not. Honestly, it's not very
But
often.
Of course it is. Every one of the lower seeds winning. That's not
crazy.
happening.
But
There's
I
no
can
way
see.
that's happening.
I can see the majority of the lower seeds
And
winning.
it's possible. I think for each one of them has a legitimate chance of winning.
But whether
all
they
of
do
them
or not,
happening,
yeah.
but all of them happening together
No,
is the thing.
absolutely not.
And that's the take. Is
Yeah.
all of them are going to
The
win.
take
That's
is
not
off your rocker, but looking at the matchups,
happening. Individual matchups, that's
Yeah.
very possible. But the fact that all of them would win
No.
this weekend,
I
no.
mean, the team named Gonzaga would have to lose in that case, and that's not going
right.
to happen.
And so would the team named Baylor.
So we're over time here, so that'll do it for the weekend sports kickoff as.